So, hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about pre-writing for a line graph in IELTS Task 1 writing. This is very similar to the bar graph one you should have looked at already. So first of all, have a look at this, the line graph here, and you consider, as we discussed last with the bar chart, what's the key things you should be looking at inside and outside the line graph. So just as we've got the pause on here, think about that. Consider the key data and what you need to think about in the line graph as you're looking at it there. We'll now switch and have a look at the heading. So we're wanting to notice keywords that are coming up here. So we've got this word presents and we're going to switch to compares. The diagram became line graph. Well known, we could use the word famous. Instead of between, we can say from and to. We also should think about the key data that's being compared, which is this Meads and Hadley here. So you notice the person thinking of a lexical chunk they could use here, the Meads brand or the Hadley brand. They could also just use this brand, which is a good example of substitution, which would help your coherence mark. Now also we need to think about the data even more. So on the vertical axis is always how the data is being compared. Notice they have the share price of Hadley or Meads. Also notice that's in dollars there. At the bottom, we see the tense. It's going to be past. So, remained stable or increased. We can also think about other synonyms and substitution we can use for the date. So, we've got in the first year, 4 years later, or 4 years subsequently. Remember, we can also just say in 2000 or in 1996. Finally, here we can say in the final year. That's a good substitution, again helping your coherence and cohesion mark. Once you've been around the outside, remember then you should turn around and look inside the line graph. Always label the line so you don't get confused. And we need to think about key data. So obviously the key data, I'm pointing some arrows out here, so again have a pause here and think, what does that data represent? Now as we come up to the side, we're going to see now the person writing some phrases, again lexical resource they can use to get these numbers exactly right. So they're using words like slightly under or slightly over and about there. So that's the key thing you should do. Have a look and think now what those numbers might represent. Notice that slightly under $4 refers to the Hadley brand down at the bottom there. Just over $9 is the peak for Meads, and about $7 is the two high points for Hadley.